Good evening, everybody. How you doing today? And welcome to the latest edition of Drew Mania. Nice to have you with us for this Saturday, the 30th day of September, the year 2017. As we say goodbye to September, and tomorrow will be hello October. And of course, this is Andrew Perry, Company Alive and at you for this is your one-way sports talk. Thanks for tuning in. We have a lot going on. Got a lot of college football to talk to. A lot of NFL and baseball. Obviously, a lot is going on since I was away. My first time doing this show since August of this past summer. So it's good to be back. I have to admit, it really is really good to be back. It's been a while. It's been a long time since I've done the show. So I hope everybody had a tremendous summer and stuff. But before I get into USC despicable loss against Washington State, let me just say this about the NFL protests, okay? What Trump said without I don't care if you are a supporter or not. Here's the point. How many times how Mr. Trump or have made these inappropriate accusations for God knows how long. And when do at some point enough is enough? When do at some point enough is enough? There's a lot that's going on with Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands that went through a devastating storm or devastating hurricane. And and this is how you react? Trump, really? If you reacted, I'm just lost for words right now. For the past couple of days, after last week Friday, after he made that comment about players should be fired for not standing for the national anthem, and Sonny from The View bring up a very, very good point. And nobody's saying this. You cannot, and I repeat, you cannot fire anybody for expressing how they feel. That is against the law. That is against the law. And for him, for being in business for so long, and he didn't know that, is a disgrace. And you know what? All you guys, and listen, Trump is wrong in this level, no question about it. The players have nothing to do with it. Okay? But my point is this. We're at some point where enough is enough. And when he's gonna start leading the country by example and not leading it like a horse's you know what. That's my point. With that said, let's get back to the sports, please. And we don't want to get to the point where we have to watch the games now and count down how many players are kneeling, how many players are holding hands. The national anthem was never televised unless it's a championship game. What's the point of televising it now? because people are allowed to speak their minds. Stop. Just stop, please. Let's get back to the food. Let's get back to the sports. And that's all I got to say on the subject. Now, moving on. Yesterday's game, the ups. Well, if you watch college football today, so far there's really not really any upset. But the one upset that happened yesterday, was USC and Washington, as Washington State beat USC by the score of 27-30 in a field goal, and it was. I have to admit, it was. This loss was a disgrace, and thank goodness, we did the. Thank God the Heisman Trophy is not settled, is not voted. Excuse me, in September. Otherwise, it would have. Otherwise, he would have been out. So, damn, Donaldson could redeem itself. But there's no shape or form bad losses, and the reason why USC lost, in my estimation, because they played too conservative. They was playing way too conservative. They really were. And I'll get to the third down. I will get to the third down play in a bit. But their defense, going back to the Texas game, their defense is not up to par at all. Their defense has been terrible. And if you think the USC Trojans are a national championship caliber type team, I'm sorry. And I'm a USC guy, and I love USC. I've been loving USC since I was a little boy. And yes, when Carson Palmer and those boys was there. And I understand they're not known for their defense, but their defense gotta play a lot better. In the last couple of games, their defense has been atrocious. Is a nice way to put it. But they've been awful. You have Texas, which, by the way, let's be honest, you was fortunate to win that game. But Washington State, if you're gonna be a national championship type team, these are the teams you have to beat, especially if they're in your own conference. Losing to them, in my estimation, and I know it's early, I know college football just started, it is, to me, losing to Washington State Cougars is unacceptable. And Sam Donaldson got to play better. You can't keep having these slow starts and expect to win games. It's not going to work. It's not always going to win. Don't get me wrong. We all love comebacks. However, to win the game, to win the national championship, you got to beat teams you're supposed to beat. The point is, last night you had no business, even if you didn't play well, have no business losing to a team like Washington State. On the other hand, give Washington State credit. The quarterback, I don't know his name, is Luke Folk. Yeah, Luke Folk. My mistake. I know his name now. Luke Folk. He played sensation. He played decent yesterday. Throw for 200 yards. 200 yards. Didn't throw a lot of picks. So he didn't play conservative like Sam Donaldson did. I don't have the stats in the top of my brain, but I don't have the stats at the top of my brain. But the bottom line is this: the quarterback played better than Sam Donaldson. Folk played than Sam Donaldson, and let's face it, Mike Leach became Newt Rodney last night. That's what happened. The fans was into it. You could tell. And it was it was just mistakes after mistakes. Now, let's get to the third down play. I don't know what was going on, but the better question I have, when I first thought about it, I was like, okay, they're going to call a timeout, they might go to throw the football. But instead, you call a timeout and call a running play on 3rd and long. Yeah, I'm scratching my head because that's exactly what I did when I watched that, and I couldn't believe it. And I'm thinking to myself, Sam Donaldson, you mean to tell me you can't, even though the coach gave you the play, or the offensive corner, even though the offensive corner, the coach couldn't say, or the quarterback could have honorable it, could have honorable say, you know what, we're changing the play, we're going to throw it down the field, caught the defense napping. You couldn't do that? You ran for it on 4th down. Thank goodness, unfortunately, that the receiver caught it on 4th down. Because that was the play that jumped at me. They could have lost the game. But that's not the story why they lost the game. They lost the game because of the defense. The defense got tired, and Washington State run the football all over them like it's no tomorrow. And if they want, I said this before and I'll say it again, I don't think USC twice in 2 occasions against Texas and against Washington State, they're not a championship caliber team. They're good enough to win the playoffs, but I don't think they're good enough to win the national championship. All right, I'm gonna put a pause on on the podcast for now. Follow my show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. I have more episodes coming up next month in October, like 2 or 3 episodes or so. Until then, I'm Andrew Perry. As always, shalom. Let's peace go with you, and I will talk to you in the next Drew Mania podcast. So long, everybody.